Good afternoon, dear students. I welcome you all back to the class. As a part of GPAT class on pharmaceutical analysis, we have discussed in the last class about UV visible spectroscopy, its principle and instrumentation. Now let's move on to the applications of UV visible spectroscopy. What are the qualitative and quantitative applications? And what are the general applications in pharmaceutical field? Mostly all other spectroscopy analysis also will be having same parameters but with different field of applications. Some difference will be there with each and every spectroscopy, but mostly common instrumental parts and common quantitative methods they will be having with some differences. Hence we will be discussing as example and as denotation of all other spectroscopic analysis UV visible spectroscopy in brief here. So with this note, let's move on to the topic of today's discussion. Now let's move on to the contents of today's discussion. The contents are quantitative applications, pharmaceutical applications and spectrometric titrations. These three topics we are going to discuss in brief. Coming to quantitative applications, what is meant by quantity? Determination of quantity, that states quantitative applications. What are the methods and what is the aim of quantitative study? It is to determine the purity of the analyte or analytes. We are going to determine the purity through analyzing quantity of the analyte. So what are the methods to determine it? There are two broad categories of methods by UV visible analysis. One is single component analysis, another one is multi-component analysis. In single component analysis, there are two divisions. When reference standard is not available, what is the method? When reference standard is available, what are the methods? And in multi-component analysis, what is the method we are following? In single component analysis, when reference standard is not available, reference standard means to compare your sample with some standard. When it is not available, we'll be following standard absorptive value method. Standard absorptive value method, that is called as A 1% 1 centimeter or E value method. This method followed by Indian pharmacopoeia. It is mostly in the pharmacopoeia you can find the same method for analyzing single component. Single component means if you take any dosage form, only single API will be there. If it is having more than one API, that is active pharmaceutical ingredient, then it is coming under multi-component analysis. Next part of single component analysis is when reference standard is available, what are the methods? First one is direct comparison method, second one is calibration curve method. Direct comparison means the sample concentration is directly compared with standard concentration. In calibration curve method, standard serial sets of standards are prepared and linear curve is plotted. From that, by means of extrapolation, calibration curve is plotted for getting sample concentration. So this is called as calibration curve method, most widely used method when reference standard is available. Comparing with the direct comparison, we will be moving with calibration curve method to get accurate results. And then for multi-component analysis, simultaneous estimation method or simultaneous equation method it is called as, and otherwise called as Weirot's method. It is called as the scientist name, with the scientist name Weirot's method, simultaneous equation method. So these are all the methods you will be doing in practicals. So the same procedures, concepts you can take here for example. Now I have focused only classification and methods. Now you can write in brief with examples here. Now let's move on to principle of quantitative analysis. What is the main mechanism behind quantitative analysis, or we can say what is the main application of quantitative analysis? It is to determine purity of the drug substance or drug product, or analyte whatever you are going to analyze. How purity is determined? From quantity of the drug substance. How quantity is determined? From concentration. From how concentration is determined? From the diluted sample by means of Beer-Lambert's law. What is the law behind UV visible analysis? Beer-Lambert's law. We will be seeing in brief about Beer-Lambert's law here. So what is the application of Beer-Lambert's law? To determine concentration of drug substance or drug product present in the diluted sample. What type of sample will be analyzing by UV visible spectroscopy? Diluted monophasic solutions, either colorless or colored samples. So what is the principle of quantitative analysis? Determining concentration, through which quantity is determined, then by which purity of the drug substance is determined. So purity says about safety and efficacy of the drug product or drug substance. Now let's move on to most important part of quantitative analysis, that is Beer-Lambert's law. What are the subtitles we are going to discuss under this is what is Beer-Lambert's law and how it is derived, derivation, then deviations, limitations of Beer-Lambert's law. It is most important part in both theory and practicals. In practical it is applied to determine concentration. In theory it is applicable to write exams. During exams it is most frequently asked question in exams. So read this topic thoroughly. Derivations, here I have given step by step. Just note it down and work it out to derive all the parameters on your own, and then read thoroughly. Okay. Now let's discuss what is Lambert's law. Lambert's law is nothing but when a beam of light is allowed to pass through a transparent medium, the rate of decrease in intensity with the thickness is directly proportional to intensity of light. Here simply we can say what is Lambert's law means. Concentration of substance is directly proportional to thickness of medium. Thickness represents the solution concentration. How much thickness? When concentration increases, thick increases. That is the concept of Lambert's law given here. In this slide I have given Lambert's law derivation. So if you derive through integration and log whatever substitutions you are making, finally you will get the equation 1, that is IT transmitted light equals to I0 incident light 10 to the power of minus KT. T represents thickness of the medium. So this is directly proportional to concentration of the substance. This is stated by Lambert's law. IT equal to I0 10 to the power minus KT. Next, from the Lambert's law, what is K means? Absorption coefficient. It is the reciprocal of thickness T, which is required to reduce the light to 1/10 of its intensity. So from the equation 1, the derivation is given to calculate what is absorbance. Absorbance equals to log I0 by IT. What is I0? Incident light, and IT transmitted light. So absorbance is directly proportional to incident light, where indirectly proportional to transmitted light. Absorbance, that is equal to optical density divided by extinction coefficient, that is E. So opacity, absorbance is given as opacity, that is also I0 by IT. Next, coming to Beer's law. According to Beer's law, the intensity of a beam of monochromatic light decreases exponentially with increase in concentration of absorbing substance arithmetically. So simply we can say what is Beer's law means. Concentration is directly proportional to absorbance. Absorbing species, how much absorbing species is present in the sample, it is depending on concentration. When it increases, concentration also increases. That is the concept of Beer's law. What is Lambert's law? Concentration is directly proportional to thickness of the medium. Here concentration is directly proportional to absorbance. So when we measure absorbance and thickness, we can determine concentration of a substance. That is why Beer-Lambert's law is applicable in quantitative analysis. What is the basic parameter we need to analyze? Concentration. So that is analyzed by Beer-Lambert's law. since it is directly proportional to absorbance, where Lambert's law is directly proportional to thickness. In this slide, derivation for Beer's law and combination of Beer-Lambert's law is given. And what is Beer-Lambert's law? When combining both, it is called as A equal to ECT, or we can say A equal to ABC also. Small ABC represents absorptivity, concentration and thickness. Similarly, ECT also represents absorptivity, concentration and thickness. E represents epsilon, that is nothing but molar absorption coefficient or absorptivity. It can be said as small a also. So A equals to ABC or A equals to ECT is called as Beer-Lambert's law, where absorptivity, concentration and thickness. ABC represents absorptivity, B represents path length and C represents concentration. In A with caps represents absorbance. This is the law used in quantitative analysis. Next, coming to deviations of Beer-Lambert's law. When you plot a calibration curve as shown in the picture, the ideal curve appears like a linear curve. It is a straight one. If a sample is not coming with the ideal line, it may be going for deviation either positive side or negative side. If it is deviated positive side, then it is called as positive deviation, or if it is coming down, then it is called as negative deviation. It is depending on concentration. You see in the x-axis concentration and in y-axis absorbance is taken in the graph. According to it, positive and negative deviations occur. What are the two types of deviations then? Positive deviation and negative deviation. Next, coming to limitations of Beer-Lambert's law. What are the limitations or factors to be considered to obey Beer-Lambert's law by a sample? Here physiochemical and instrumental factors are given. What are physiochemical means? Concentration, scattering, fluorescence or phosphorescence. Instrumental factors are monochromatic light, slit width and stray light. What is concentration and why concentration is considered as a factor? Here only diluted solutions should be used for getting accurate results, not more concentrated solution. That is less than 0.01 molar solution is to be preferred to obey Beer-Lambert's law. Then scattering. Scattering of light should be avoided since only absorbance is measured here. Then fluorescence and phosphorescence is not measured. Only absorbance is measured. Then coming to instrumental factors, monochromatic light is used, not polychromatic light for analyzing. Stray light should not be used since it is having interfering radiations. Then slit width should be optimum to get symmetric peak. These are the factors to be considered to obey Beer-Lambert's law to get accurate concentration of a sample. What are pharmaceutical applications of UV visible spectroscopy? Here I have divided the whole pharma field into different departments. As we are studying in our college, according to it I have divided so that it is easy to remember all the applications. What are the applications means? General applications, then in pharmaceutics what is the application, then in pharmaceutical analysis, and in other departments in the next slide we will be discussing. Now here what are general applications of UV visible spectroscopy? Quality control of pharmaceuticals, lambda max determination of pharmaceuticals, QC and lambda max analysis. Then in pharmaceutics, dissolution studies on drug products for calculating percentage drug release, determination of purity and uniformity of nanoparticles. Then in vitro bioavailability testing, dissolution, nanoparticle studies, in vitro bioavailability studies in pharmaceutics. Then in analysis, pharmaceutical analysis, it is applicable to evaluate or to develop methods, analytical method and validate for a drug substance or drug product, method development and validation. Then drug-drug interaction and drug-food interaction studies. Then stability indicating method development. Then determination of pKa, that is acid dissociation constant of drug substances. These are the applications in pharmaceutical analysis. You can observe the picture for more understanding. Next, coming to pharmaceutical applications of UV visible spectroscopy in other fields of pharmacy like pharmacognosy, pharmacology and clinical applications. In pharmacognosy, it is applicable to determine lambda max of isolated herbal compounds. Then it is applicable to determine quantity and purity of an isolated compound. Then it is applicable to study in vitro pharmacological activities on herbals. Then in pharmacology also it is applicable for in vitro studies on a selected drug product. Then determination of bioavailability of a drug product, testing in animals. Then clinical applications, it is applicable to determine concentration of normal and abnormal bioconstituents in body fluids. Like example of testing creatinine, uric acid in blood. So various constituents you have tested in biochemistry also. The same methods you can give here as examples. Here I have focused only on applications. You need to give or focus examples for each application, so that it will be fulfilled completely. Here I have given what are the areas UV visible spectroscopy is applicable. You need to give example of each. Giving the same title, you can collect examples and give here. For more understanding, you can observe images given in the slides for each application or each field of application. Thank you. Coming to spectrophotometric titrations, here titrations are carried out using UV visible spectroscopy measuring absorbance of titrate and titrant. So a titer value is observed based on measuring absorbance at each ml of titrant, addition of titrant. So you can observe the graph. Here it is given as volume of titrant in x-axis and in y-axis absorbance, and some examples of substances carried with the UV visible spectroscopy as titration method is given here. There are 3 examples I have quoted. And what are the normal titration curves? The shape of titration curves are given here. 6 number of curves. How it is appeared when 2 types of titrate and titrant are used. So where fluctuation occurs in the graph shows endpoint of titration. This is how spectrophotometric titrations are carried out, and it is also an application of UV visible spectroscopy. Coming to summary of today's class, we have discussed about quantitative applications, pharmaceutical applications and spectrophotometric titrations of UV visible spectroscopy. In quantitative applications, we have discussed broadly about Beer-Lambert's law, how concentration is determined to determine finally safety and efficacy of a drug product or drug substance. And in pharmaceutical applications in different fields of pharmacy, what are the ways UV visible spectroscopy is applicable? Examples you need to quote it. Don't forget to quote examples for each application in different fields of pharmacy. Then spectrophotometric titrations. Here different titration curves and examples we have discussed. It is also similar to normal titration method, but here to get accurate endpoint we are measuring absorbance spectrophotometrically using UV visible spectrophotometer. This is the summary of today's class. Thank you so much for patient listening. We will meet in the next class. If you have any doubts and queries, you can post it in the classroom app. Thank you.